Bon dia, good morning guys. It is my favourite time of year. We are well into spring and there are flowers everywhere, especially roses. The Portuguese love to grow roses, and yeah, as we drive through the villages you just see all the rose bushes in bloom and it's just glorious. And we have these, I think they're a tea rose or they could be a bourbon rose. If you are an expert on roses, please do let me know if you can recognise them. They smell incredible, and we have 3 of these rose bushes that were already on the land when we moved here, and they just smell incredible. So I've been really wanting to make something with them, and I thought today I would share with you a few lovely little self-care practices I've been doing with some of the flowers from the land and the garden. They're super simple. I don't have a lot of time being a mum to do complicated things, but I just think doing a few nice things for yourself is really important. So I'm going to share some things using plants that are really easy to grow. So firstly roses, then calendula, which basically grows like a weed in our garden now. It's an incredible plant. And then I also have rosemary and lemon balm. Today I need to wash my hair, so 2 of the things are to do with that, but the first one is with rose petals. So I'm just infusing the roses in water. You're best to use distilled water, but I'm just using our well water that goes through a lot of filters. I think tap water has chlorine in, so you're best to use distilled water if you can. I'm basically infusing it a bit like a sun tea. I had originally, when I started doing this, boiled the roses, but after lots of reading I learnt that the heat will damage a lot of the compounds that are good in roses, so a long gentle warmth. So I'm going to leave this all day in the sunshine, and the main use for this is I just splash it on my face as sort of a toner. Rose has the same pH as your skin, so it's really good for your skin. This would last not very long because it's just basically tea. One day I'm going to invest in a still for making hydrosols, but yeah, pop this in the fridge and for 3 to 5 days it will be good to use, and towards the last day I just chuck it all in the bath with me. As I'm on the topic of skincare, one thing I cannot grow in my garden is SPF, which is so important for your skin, and especially here in Portugal in the harsh sunshine, but even on cloudy days it's really important to protect your skin. And it has been the thing I'm most strict about with my skin is wearing daily SPF on my face. We have partnered with Hello Sunday for this video. I have been using their everyday moisturiser, which has SPF 50 in it every morning after my rose water toner. But one thing that they've sent me that I wouldn't normally use and I'm absolutely loving is their SPF primer. It has aloe vera in, which I have been trying to grow in the garden and is incredible for your skin. I am not very good at growing it so far, so I'm happy to be using it. And I think what's really great with Hello Sunday is that they're adding SPF into all your normal skincare products to just make it something that's quite seamless into your day. So if you use a primer, I would highly recommend this really lovely one from them. And I am obsessed with lip balm. I don't think there's anything worse than having dry lips, and I'd never thought before to protect them. So this is the SPF 50 lip balm, and it has a nice little pink rose tint, so it helps me feel better on the days when I've not had the best night's sleep. And actually we met up with some of our friends the other week and I'd been quite ill in the night and was feeling not my best, and I'd put on the primer and my lip balm and my friend was like, oh, you look so glowy today, which I definitely needed that compliment on that day. So I will leave a link in the description below if you wanted to go check Hello Sunday out and look after your precious beautiful skin. You can use our code FrankieOffGrid for a limited time to get 20% off. So I hope you enjoy it. Let me know if you try it out. Next I'm going to show you what I've been making with all the calendula flowers that I have been drying. So this is infusing in our own olive oil, and oil is really good for your hair. So I am currently at the phase of postpartum where all my hair is falling out. I know this is a natural process as the hormones are fluctuating, but it is also a little unnerving when so much is coming out, which is what actually initially sent me on this deep dive into using herbs and products in my hair just so that it's in the best state it can be as it's going through this weird phase. And yeah, I have been using oil as a scalp massager before I shampoo, which is really, really good for your scalp. And calendula has lots of really lovely properties, but it just also looks really beautiful. This has only been infusing for a week and it's already given the oil this beautiful orange glow. You should leave it for like 4 to 6 weeks, but I'm going to take a little bit out now to put in my hair. So I have just been air drying the calendula. I'm going to go get my hat. Much better, it's already very warm and sunny here at 10 AM. I have just been hanging up the calendula in the shade with some pegs, thing we normally use for our socks, and that's worked really well. Luckily it is very dry and not very humid here at the moment. You want to make sure any materials you're using for like an infusion in oil is super dry. So you can also use an air fryer or the oven. I did do a little bit in the air fryer, but it does kind of blow the petals all around. But yeah, if you live somewhere that's a little more humid, then that might be a better option, or the oven. You just want it on about 40 to 50 degrees. So I'm going to massage this into my scalp and then you leave it for 2 to 12 hours and I will show you the colour that this oil is taking on. Hi, baby. So your hair will look super greasy after you've done this. So I'd recommend having a nice hat to wear to hide it. Maybe not need to be going anywhere. But yeah, I'm gonna leave this on for at least a couple of hours and I'm gonna show you the next thing I'm gonna make whilst I let this sit in. Oh, it does feel a little bit horrible, I'm not gonna lie, but doing the head massage feels really good, and try and do it for about 4 minutes. You want to be increasing circulation to the scalp. That's what helps your hair to grow and really gets the oil in. And you know you've been doing it long enough when your arms start to ache. Hi, sausage dog. Come here. If the camera's wobbling, it's because Frankie is knocking the tripod. There you go. Now no one would ever know that I have a head full of olive oil. So I have washed the oil out of my hair. Our shower gas did run out halfway through my shower, so hopefully I managed to get it all out. If you don't already double shampoo, then if you've oiled your hair, I definitely recommend shampooing twice. Condition as normal, and then I've poured over the rosemary infusion. Luckily that was still really nice and warm, so it was a really nice post rinse, and I haven't washed it out. You can if you want to, but I read that you can leave it in, and the more you leave it on the scalp, obviously the more benefits you're going to get, and also good to massage it in again. Scalp massage is the one. If you're sat watching this video and you don't want to get up and make all this stuff, but you want to do one thing for yourself, then just give yourself a head massage. I think my favourite thing with this rosemary one is that it just smells so good. I love the smell of rosemary, and the smell really stays and lingers once it dries. So Jack wanted to help me with this one. This is our very abundant lemon balm growing with the strawberries. And it's very warm, so I should get back to the house, Baban. So I'm just making a sun tea, which is basically just leaving the sun to do the work of infusing the tea. I'm going to add, because I've got lots of them, some rose petals to the lemon balm. What I'm using here is a Mizudashi brewer from Hario, and it's great for making sun tea with. Feels like a storm is about to happen, so classically, just as I try and make some sun tea, the sun has disappeared. Oops, that leaks. But yeah, I'm going to leave that for a couple of hours. You can use so many different herbs and flowers to make tea, and they all have their own different qualities and benefits, and whichever flavour you like, but I think this rose and lemon balm one is going to be really good. And the rose water is already taking on a little bit of colour in the bottom. Don't know if you can see it that well, but it feels really warm from the hot sun that has now disappeared. I have also hung up some of the lemon balm to dry with the Calendula. You can use fresh or dried herbs for this. Again, different qualities depending on whether they're fresh or dried, and kind of get different intensity of flavours. But one thing I would say is to try not to use really, really hot water. But I just think doing these nice little things for oneself is a message to your subconscious in itself, without whatever the health benefits of each herb. I mean, just look how beautiful this is, and yeah, I think that's self-care enough to just do something beautiful for yourself. We've had some very strange weather today, but I thought it was going to rain and it hasn't. We just had a lot of thunder, and now the sun is trying to come back out, and I've come back down to the garden to drink my rose and lemon balm sun tea, my bonus tip is whenever possible, drink from a wine glass. It just elevates your drink, even if it's water or sun tea, then yeah, makes everything taste better. So even without the sun, this is infused for about 3 hours in cool water and tastes lovely, especially the rose. The rose is very strong. Before I give my final self-care tip, I just want to make a quick little disclaimer that if you are collecting flowers, please make sure you 100% know what you're identifying and don't use anything that has pesticides on. If you have bought yourself a bunch of beautiful roses from a florist, they do tend to be sprayed with something you might not want to drink or put on your skin. So yeah, just a quick little note. And so my final thoughts and what I'm going to do as my final floral self-care act today is I'm going to go and pick a bunch of flowers for myself. Flowers make people happy, and whilst I was researching all of this, I came across a study from Rutgers University, and the behavioural scientist, I cannot remember her name, I'll pop it on the screen here, but they found that gifting people flowers or flowers just being in your home really increased levels of happiness, decreased anxiety and depression, and yeah, just genuinely made people happier. So it's not just a frivolous, aesthetical thing, they are scientifically good for us. And one of the things they suggested as the reasoning behind this is that when there is an abundance of flowers, it means there's an abundance of food. So it's a biological impulse for us to enjoy flowers. So this is your permission slip to pick yourself or buy yourself a bunch of flowers and put them in your home. And rather than give you any tips on how to prolong the life of your picked flowers, I also saw a clip from the Drew Barrymore show. I think she has a day show, and there was a florist on there, and one of the guests asked, how do I make my flowers last longer? And the florist said, they're not meant to last. The job of flowers is to remind you to be present, because the flowers, they grow, they bloom, they blossom, they are beautiful, and then they're gone. And if you're not present, you'll miss it. So I just thought that was very beautiful as well. So anyway, I'm going to go pick some flowers, and I hope you've enjoyed this video. I've actually had so many ideas whilst making this, so if you have enjoyed this slightly different video from our usual content, let me know, and maybe I can make another one in the autumn or something. So cheers, and take good care of yourself, you deserve it. And yeah, bye. See you in the next one.